Just re-stick the sticker back on. Also, just so you've got the code when you want to update the coils, etc. The next step, we've got to cut the lugs off as best we can, as tight as we can, and then sand it down so it's nice and flat. Okay, so we started off 15 minutes using the blade. That was hard work, we put it on an angle, so we just used the blade only with tape. Another 10 minutes, that was hard work. So we've come up with the big knife, and that just cut through it. So there's your top tip straight away. Use one of these big knives to cut through it. Nice and easy, it took about 2 minutes at max. Alright, we'll cut the next one off now. Okay, as you can see, it's nearly flat. It's a little bit rough, but we get the sandpaper on that now. Smooth it off, get it as smooth as you can, so when we put the plate on, it's nice and flat and it adheres nice and strong. Get a nice block. In this case, we use a little box. Wrap it with the sandpaper and get that nice and flat. You need a coarse sandpaper to start with, and go down to the fine sandpaper just to finish it off. Okay, so that's all. I'll have the coarse sandpaper over it now. Still a bit rough, it's nice and flat. Just going to put the fine sandpaper over it just to tidy it up a bit and give it clean. Okay, as you can see now, we've cut the two lugs off. We ended up using the knife and it's come off nice and flat. It was a little bit frayed on this side, so we've got the coarse sandpaper, sanded it down until it was flat, and then put the fine sandpaper over it and it's nice and smooth. So now we're going to mix up the Gorilla Glue and then stick the lugs back on. See how we get on. Okay, so now we've got to put the plate onto the coil. It should be sat there normally, that's where the normal one is. You've got a little counter, that we've sanded that down, that was sitting there. But it's always, it feels like the balance isn't right. So we're going to set it forward about 15mm. But the way we've done that, we found that cut a piece of timber that fits in the slot, same length as the coil, and then because you've got trouble clamping it otherwise, you can't get through the gaps, so you need to be at the top and the bottom. Then you get the other clamp, stick that on the end, so you've got the two clamps on with the plate underneath. We haven't got the glue on yet, this is a dummy run, so you'd pull that into the position, and you leave that then for about half an hour. But making sure that is dead straight to the centre of the coil. And that's it, it should be good. So we'll do that now and see how we get on. So apply the adhesive. Actually, you've got enough on there, you don't want to be too tight. Actually, there's plenty on there. You've got about 1 minute of play time with this Gorilla stuff. And then you've got to whack it on, so let's put it on. Okay, so we've applied the Gorilla epoxy resin, we've lined it all up, that's absolutely parallel with the coil. We've got the timber on top of it so the pressure's spread, and we've clamped it. What happens is it all oozes out the sides because you put a generous layer on, generous amount of epoxy. So wet sponge, as soon as it's all clamped down, wet sponge, wipe it off, keep it all nice and neat, and hopefully that'll look bang on. 30 minutes it takes to fully set, so I'll get back to you in 30 minutes. Happy days. Okay, so it's all dried now. We left it a bit longer than the 30 minutes, left it an hour. Where we put plenty on, it's seeped through, wipes it with the sponge, and it's give it a great little finish. That looks really good. Awesome. So in all, I think this costs about for 20 quid. This was £20. Then you got the sandpaper, all stuff like that. In all, the total cost was about £35. But it's cheaper than buying a brand new coil, which is £350. So if you break your lugs, don't go out and just buy a brand new coil. Get this done. It's not too bad, nice and cheap, and it looks really good.